Hello to all of you, my students in the 6th grade. How are you today? This is your English teacher, Dana from Al Farouk Academy. Today we are going to start with the story in your student's book. So please prepare your books and be ready for our class. The outcomes of our lesson today, students should be able to read the paragraphs on student's book page 101, recognize the ideas of the paragraphs and the meanings of the new words. So your student's book, page 101. Let's start with the first paragraph about this story. So the type of the text is a story. We will talk about heroes, real life heroes. Captain Robert Falcon Scott, or Scott of the Antarctic, as he is often called. So his name is Robert Falcon Scott, and he often called what? Scott of the Antarctic, was an officer in the Navy. So كان ضابط في البحرية. He is famous because he wanted to be the first man to go to the South Pole. إذن ليش هو كان مشهور؟ لأنه هو أول رجل كان بده يوصل the South Pole، القطب الجنوبي. In June 1910, he left the UK to travel to the other side of the world. إذن بهذا التاريخ هو غادر UK, United Kingdom, and he wanted to travel to the other side of the world, للطرف الآخر من العالم. He went across the ice with dogs and sledges. إذن هو عبر الآيس مع his dogs والsledges اللي هم الزلاجات. But the weather was so bad that he had to send the dogs back. إذن هو ليش رجع الdogs back? Because the weather was so bad. To camp with some of his team. Scott and 4 other men, إذن في عنا 5 men wanted to go to the South Pole. Lewis Scott with Wilson, Oates, Power, Evans, and they continued on foot. Now we have questions. Number 1, who was Robert Falcon Scott? Yes, as we said, he was an officer in the Navy. Number 2, why is he famous? Yes, because he wanted to be the first man to go to the South Pole. Number 3, was the weather so bad as we said here? Yes, of course. Yes, it was so bad. Number 4, mention the name of the 4 men who continued on foot with Scott. Yes, we have Wilson, Oates, Power, and Evans. Let's complete. The weather got worse and worse. الجو صار أسوأ وأسوأ. But on January 17th, 1912, the 5 men finally arrived at the South Pole. إذن بهذا التاريخ ال5 men, as we said, Scott, Oates, Bower, Evans, and Wilson, وصلوا إلى South Pole, القطب الجنوبي. However, when they arrived, they found a Norwegian flag. إذن شافوا العلم نرويجي. They were not the first men to get there because the Norwegians arrived a few days before them. إذن النرويجيين كانوا واصلين قبلهم. إذن هم مش أول رجال اللي وصلوا القطب الجنوبي. Now they had a hard 1,500 kilometers journey back to their ship. The weather was terrible, very bad, and in the middle of the February, Evans fell through the ice and died. So, بنصف شهر February, Evans أول حدا بيموت فيهم. So, look at these questions. Quote a sentence which indicates that the weather was worse. Of course, this is the first line. Excellent. The weather got worse and worse, but on January 17th, 1912, the 5 men finally arrived at the South Pole. Number 2, what happened when The men arrived. Yes, they found a Norwegian flag. Number 3, were they the first men to go there? No, they weren't. Number 4, what happened in the middle of February? Yes, Evans fell through the ice and died. So let's complete what happened at the end. A few weeks later, Oates, who knew that he was dying and was making the journey too slow for other men, left the tent. إذن هو غادر التنت and انعرف بأنه مات وهو أبطأ حدا كان بالرحلة مقارنة بالمن الآخرين. He told the others that he was going for a walk but he didn't come back. إذن هو خبر المن الآخرين إنهم رايح for a walk. لا المشي لكن ما رجع. So he died. Scott and the other 2 men carried on, but on March 29th 1912 they all died. إذن بهذا التاريخ كل المن died ماتوا. From exhaustion الإرهاق أو التعب الشديد, only 20 kilometers from their camp. Their bodies were found 8 months later, together with Scott's diary, which told the whole tragic story. إذن tragic story بمعنى قصة مأساوية. So their story is a tragic story. Did Oates come back when he told the men that he wanted to go for a walk? No, he didn't. He died. Number 2, describe their story. Yes, it's a tragic story. Now let's do exercise number 2. Put the sentences in order. Let's reorder these sentences. Firstly, we want to read them. The Norwegians arrive at the South Pole. Scott travels to the Antarctic on a special trip. Oates disappears. Evans dies. Scott's diary is found. Scott dies. Scott sends the dogs and sledges back to camp. Scott arrives at the South Pole. What do you think the first one? Yes, excellent. This says Scott travels to the Antarctic on a special trip. Then he sends the dogs and the sledges back to the camp. Number 3, the Norwegians arrive at the South Pole. Number 4, Scott arrives at the South Pole. Number 5, Evans dies. Number 6, Oates disappears. 7, Scott dies. And 8, Scott's diary is found.